Close your eyes and imagine the backdrop for the fairy tales you loved as a child. Now open them. If you're standing on the shores of Lake Bled, Slovenia, seeing the church-topped island and the castle-topped cliff, then you're already there. Is this the most beautiful place on Earth? I certainly think so, and I'm not alone. Millions of visitors have marveled at the fairy tale perfection of Bled, Slovenia. This podcast brings you the wonders of Bled, its people, places, foods, history, and experiences. Everything you need for a perfect holiday. I'm your host, Noah Charney, and this is the Bled Podcast. Is this the most beautiful place on Earth? Let's begin. Beekeeping has a long and rich tradition in Slovenia, a country known for its exceptional honey production and beekeeping practices. Slovenian beekeeping techniques date back centuries, and the country is home to the indigenous Carniolan honeybee, Apis mellifera carnica, which is highly valued for its docile nature, hardiness, and excellent honey production. It is in fact the second most popular bee on the planet, exported abroad and a favorite of beekeepers the world over. Slovenia has the most beekeepers per capita and launched the United Nations initiative for World Bee Day, celebrated every May 20th. For this episode, I visited the Ambrožič family, which runs a beautiful beekeeping center that welcomes visitors just a short walk from Lake Bled. Hear that? The sound of bees. Beekeeping has been an important part of Slovenian culture and heritage for centuries. The first written records of beekeeping in Slovenia can be traced back to the 16th century, and traditional beekeeping knowledge has been passed down through generations. The Slovenian Anton Janša is considered the godfather of modern apiculture. He was the first professor of beekeeping in the world, chosen by Empress Maria Theresa to teach the craft in Vienna. Slovenia's diverse landscape, characterized by forests, meadows, and alpine regions, provides an ideal habitat for bees. The country's relatively small size and abundant flora contribute to the production of various types of high-quality honey. Beekeeping in Slovenia is organized through local beekeeping associations. These associations provide education, support, and resources to the numerous beekeepers. We've got the Slovenian Beekeepers Association, the main national organization that represents beekeepers and promotes their activities. And there are a lot of enthusiasts here. In fact, Slovenia has the most beekeepers per capita in the world, averaging one for every 100 citizens. Slovenia places great importance on beekeeping education. The schools and courses are available throughout the country, offering training for beginners as well as advanced beekeepers. These programs focus on both practical beekeeping techniques and theoretical knowledge about bees and their behavior. Slovenia has also promoted the importance of bees internationally. Based on a Slovenian initiative, the United Nations declared May 20th, the birthday of Anton Janša, as World Bee Day. Slovenia is best known for its unique traditional beehive architecture called AZ hives or AZ hives. These vertical beehives are made of wooden panels and have distinctive painted front panels featuring colorful folk art motifs. AZ hives are designed to provide optimal conditions for the bees while facilitating honey production and swarm control. Slovenian honey is highly regarded for its exceptional quality, taste, and diversity. The country's varied flora, including linden, chestnut, acacia, and forest honey, contributes to the wide variety of honey types produced. Slovenian honey often carries a protected designation of origin, PDO, or Protected Geographical Indication, PGI, labels of its quality and its origin as designated by the European Union. Beekeeping has become a significant component of Slovenia's tourism industry. Visitors can explore beekeeping museums, honey festivals, and bee-themed attractions across the country. Tourists also have the opportunity to visit beekeepers, learn about their practices, and taste different types of honey. Now all this brings me to where I stand today, in a sun-drenched field surrounded by thick forests, just 2 kilometers, a short walk from Lake Bled. I'm with Daniela Ambrožič, who with her husband runs Ambrožič Beekeeping. When I arrive, Daniela offers me a beekeeper's hat and then takes me on a tour. Ambrožič Beekeeping regularly hosts tourists and school groups. Here you can learn about bees and the tradition of beekeeping, taste honey and pollen, and even try out apitherapy, a traditional folk healing method in which you lie beside a beehive, listen to the buzzing, and breathe in the scented air which comes through a protected grating that separates you from the bees. The buzz provides a soothing vibration. The scent has been medically demonstrated to be beneficial for both relaxation and to soothe respiratory issues, and it lets you commune with the bees while feeling entirely comfortable. Daniela and I chatted about her work and the role of bees in Slovenian culture. Daniela, thank you for spending some time with us and showing us around Ambrožič Beekeeping Farm. So tell me a little bit about how you first got interested in beekeeping.
My husband, he's guilty because of all of this. He had bees now for over 23 years. He first started with 3 colonies. And then when I came like a girlfriend, he said, I'm a beekeeper. I have bees. I said, okay. I didn't know anything about the bees that time. So he taught me everything. So he was a very good teacher. Yeah? At first, I didn't work with the bees. I just did some label and honey in jars, and so just little basic stuff. And then, of course, we had 2 children, and I lost job because of this. And then we had some visitors which are coming here because we are very close by to the lake, only 2 kilometers. And then they wanted to buy honey to see the bees. First we say we're gonna do just for the school children and children in kindergarten because it's very important to start with the young generation. So we had only beekeeping shows for the children because the children went at home and they explained to their mothers and father, okay, what they saw. We have also, of course, some mothers which they are guided tours in some agency, and they say, okay, we want to also to see all this, but only for my visitors or some groups or different kind of visitors. And we started to do all this again. So this is my job. So I educate children, school children, visitors, which is very important. So this is how I start.
So when someone comes to Cebelarstvo Ambrožič, what are the sort of things they see and what do they do with you?
But first, we give them the beekeeping hats. So this is very nice experience. So they are looking like beekeepers. And of course, we explain everything about the bees, how they work, what they do, what is their lifestyle, and then we show them. So they can meet the bees, but but it's not like we just push them in front of the hive. But we have a special hives which they are protective. So they have glass, and on safety way they can see the bees and they can meet them, and we search the drone, we search the mother queen, we see the worker bees, so they meet the bees very close.
So one of the things that I enjoyed doing was holding a drone. And drones don't have stingers, so you don't have to worry, and you get a feeling that bees aren't something to be afraid of. That was a great feature. Is that something that your guests often find surprising or it's a first for them?
Yeah, usually I catch a couple of drones because the drones don't have stingers, so the drones also don't work, which is very unusual. Everybody thinks the males work. In this case they don't, so the females work, so the worker bees, that's why we say worker bees. And each individual, if he wants, he can have drone in his hand, and he can see how chubby it is. So he's a little bigger, he has larger eyes, and he can see he doesn't sting you. Only the worker bees, they have stingers, so they meet little close. And somebody who's afraid of the bees, maybe he can overcome this fear also.
So one thing you said earlier that I thought was very useful is people who might think they're afraid of bees, once they put on the beekeeper's hat, you feel this sense of protection and it empowers you. And then it's important to feel good and feel calm because the bees react to that. Tell me a little bit about that. The bees respond if you're nervous or if you're feeling good.
That's why we give each one a beekeeping hat, because our bodies, they have energy. And if we are nervous, if we are thirsty, if we are hungry, if we smell very nice, we have perfumes, hairspray and all this, it's not good for the bees. For us it is, but not for them. And that's why usually the bees, they can sense this vibration of vibes, the energy, and that's why they start to fly around our head. And this is very painful if you're stung in the nose or mouth. That's why we give you a beekeeping hat. And then we are fooling our brains. So okay, you're now good, you're protected, you are protected. And my visitors, they're a little calm because of this. So they enjoy, they don't search the bees around their head and they're thinking I'm gonna be stung and all this. So it's very good to have a beekeeping hat, and then you can be more relaxed.
I think it's important to make clear for anyone who's thinking about coming and isn't quite so sure. Nothing's 100%. Occasionally, somebody's going to be stung, but
Of
it's very
course.
unlikely. So you can come with confidence that 99 out of 100 of your visitors aren't stung. Is that safe to say?
I do this job for 13 years, and I can say we had maybe 15 stung. So you see,
Out of
it's
13 years. Okay.
yes.
That's like pretty good.
So, but it was not because the people, they didn't obey all instructions. I told them not to go in front of the hive where the bees were buzzing,
Mhm.
and they did because they want to make a selfie or, so they were guilty
Okay,
themselves.
sure.
Otherwise, if you obey all the instruction, nothing's gonna happen.
Mm.
You know, or if you don't want to have a beekeeping hat, you say, I don't need one. Sometimes, you never know, because when we are walking, the bees are flying, and the bees, they can fly 25 kilometers per hour.
Huh.
And if she's coming back from the fields, and because we are walking, so it's like you're crossing the path which she's flying, and she can bump into you.
Mhm.
And because when she bumps into you, instantly she reacts and she can sting you.
Sure.
This is the 1% of chance you can be stung.
Okay.
Otherwise, our bees are very calm. They are not aggressive, so you can meet them.
So they're especially calm and non-aggressive because they're Carniolan gray bees. Tell me a little bit about this indigenous Slovene species of bee that is so popular and happy to work with.
In Slovenia, we have carnica, we say, Carnionian bee. She has black-gray stripes. And she's very typical bee for Slovenian beekeepers. So Slovenia, she doesn't have any other kind of bees. Maybe sometimes we have Italian, but this is only because if you're moving the bees to the meadows somewhere near Hungarian border or Italian border, and then the queen, she mixed with Italian drone. Otherwise, Slovenia has Carnica. Carnica is very calm bee, not aggressive, very organized, and we love her. And she's also protected from a government, so we don't like other bees so much.
But that's actually important because this is where these Carniolan gray bees are from. And that's,
Yes.
if I understand correctly, they're the second most popular bee in the world. So people like to export them because they're such a pleasure to work with. And it's important to not have them mixed up with other species to maintain the quality of the species. So it makes perfect sense.
We try to control to have only Carnica in Slovenia because this is her native country and she's coming from here. So it's very nice to have just one kind. When you start to mix Carnica, I don't know, with Italian bee, she has yellow-black stripes, and then she has two gray stripes. You already see she's a little more aggressive. So it's not good for my visitors, and also because we have only carnica, so we try to control it. So our government try to control it. It means if we found our bees which they have some yellow stripes, we have to unfortunately remove them and to replace them. So this is how we try to control it.
So tell me in brief what the process is like, the day in the life of a bee when they wake up in the morning and go out to gather and then come back to the hive. What does the shape of the day look like for them?
In the morning, first we have bees which they go outside. We call them scouts. They go outside and they search the food, the nectar or bee pollen. And when they found it, usually it's nearby. It's radius around 5 kilometers, 3-5 kilometers. So they come back and they are start to tell to other bees where this is. They are not talking to each other, but they are dancing. So we call this bee dance or wiggle dance. It means the bee, she start to dance in the shape of the number 8, and she's telling to others where the food is. And the rest of the bees, they go over there and they collect bee pollen or nectar. They bring it inside. So the bees which they were outside in the meadows, they're drinking the nectar and they put it in the sack and they bring it inside. So they give this nectar to another bee and they exchange a little bit, back and forward, and they put enzymes. And then when the honey is already good, it's not liquid so much, they put it inside the cells. And during the night and also the day, the bees, they start to buzz, and with this buzzing, the water which is inside the honey evaporates and the honey become more thicker. So they put some enzymes and all this, and the honey is prepared. When honey is good, then they close the cell with one layer of wax. And then we know this honey is prepared, it's good, and we can harvest. Or this honey is good for the winter time, for their winter supply for the winter bees.
What does the process look like when you harvest the honey?
Oh, it's a lot of bees. Usually we do it in the morning and we dress up. We come here. So we take the frames, we say frames with a lot of bees inside. And then we have to put the bees away from the honey. So we have special machine. We call them bee blower, or it's a machine with 2 brushes. And between these 2 brushes, we put a frame of the bees. And these 2 brushes gently brush the bees down in the bucket. And then we just put the bees gently inside the hive. So we don't kill them, and it's not stressful for me and for them. And then we take the honey comb to our house, which we have a special room, which has to be tidy and everything, hygienic. And then we remove the wax from the cells. So we say like scrape it or uncap it. And then we have a special machine.
A centrifuge, right?
Yes. So you can put 6, 8, or 10 frames, and you push the button, and electricity does everything. And then, of course, it spins very quickly, and the honey goes on the walls of the machine, and it leaks. And on the bottom, you have a large bucket, and the honey goes in the bucket. So then we remove the frames, which they are empty, and we put them back. So the bees, they can fill again and make honey again if the mother nature, of course, gives them. Otherwise, we don't put them back anymore, and we just have them for the next year.
So the system of gathering honey in a way that doesn't hurt any bees is actually a Slovene tradition. Can you tell me a little bit about Anton Janša and what was special about him and his approach?
Anton Janša, he was the first beekeeping teacher in the world, and he was Slovenian. He was born only here at 5 kilometers in town Žirovnica. Over there, it's also a very big apiary. And that apiary or bee house has special hives. They are very small hives. We call them Carniolan. And there are some pictures of beehive panels. He went to study in Vienna, and in that time he was very young, and he brought with himself a couple of hives, because he was a beekeeper. Maria Theresia, she was the empress in that time when the Austro-Ugarska was,
The Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Yes, and she was the empress, and she saw some interest in all this, in beekeeping and all this. And she named him a first beekeeping teacher in the world. And she also built a first beekeeping school in Vienna. So this is a huge tradition because of him. Fortunately, he died very young. He wrote a couple of books. Of course, he was also a painter, so that's why we have also bee panels and all this. That's why in Slovenia we have 2 million people and we have 12,000 registered beekeepers. So it's a very honorable to be a beekeeper. So it's a huge tradition. and we are more hobby beekeepers, we say, and that's why our beekeepers, they have maybe 5 to 20 hives, because they have honey for themselves, for their families.
There are a lot of Slovene families who keep bees, a surprising number. I think I read that they're the most beekeepers per capita in the world in Slovenia.
Yeah, 12,000 beekeepers. It means every 100 Slovenian
Hmm.
or 200 Slovenian is a beekeeper.
Now, before Janša's theories were spread, a lot of beekeepers actually hurt or killed the bees while taking the honey. And one of the things that he was promoting was a way to extract the honey without hurting the bees. What was that shift? What was different about what he was suggesting than what people had done in the past?
So the hive Carnic he used, it was very small, narrow, but very wide. It means inside, when the bees came, they had to build first the honeycomb, and then they put honey. So if you want to harvest that kind of honey, first you have to take all the wood, to tear apart the hive, and then you are cutting all the honeycomb, and then you are squeezing everything, and then that's it. So the wax which stayed, you use it maybe for candles, of course, but then you put together hive again, and the bees, they have to make a new honeycomb all over again. So it was a lot of work for the beekeeper and also for the bees.
Mm.
And that's why they were thinking, okay, we have to do something different. And that's why they are thinking maybe larger hives. And that's why now we say we became a modern beekeepers in 18th century because of the hives. A.Ž. to Anton Žnidaršič, he built a special hive, so it's a little larger, and then it's divided on two. So on the bottom, there are bees with larvas, pupas, mother queen, drones, and everything. In between, it's a queen excluder, it's a net. On the top, it's frames with honey supplies, so which we harvest. So it's literally easier because you can remove the frame and you can use it a couple of times, and your bees don't have to make all over again honeycomb, so and can live maybe a little longer because of this. So it's not stressful for them and for me also.
Now, I also see that there's a tradition of brightly colored hive fronts, but in Slovenia, there's also tradition of beautifully painted hive front panels with folk motifs. Tell me first what the different colored panel fronts do to help the bees, and then a little bit about the tradition of painting them with these folk paintings.
Yeah, we are very different here in Slovenia. So our hives, they have colors. Unfortunately, colors, they're not so much important. They are, but not so much, because here we have colors from red, purple, turquoise, violet, everything which we can get. In some other countries, they don't have all this. Maybe they have yellow, green, or nothing. Here we have, because it's more prettier, because our hives, they are stuck together and they are under the roof, and it's little beautiful. So colors like red, they don't see it, unfortunately. They see black. Purple, they see ultraviolet. So if they're watching sunflower, they don't see it yellow, but they see ultraviolet. So we say the bees, they see colors more ultraviolet. So that's why it's not so much important. They recognize the shapes, some of colors, but most of them, they're ultraviolet. So these colors, they are because of us. It's more prettier, it's more, it's not so boring. The panels, which we have here in Slovenia, it's also a huge tradition. Like I told you, Anton Janša, he was also a painter. He did his own panels, and we can see him in Žirovnica over there in the apiary. This is also a huge tradition which started here in Gorenska, we say, this region. At first, they were more local artists. They were painting. Popular was because, when in churches we have all these beautiful pictures, in the walls and all this. And also in that time when the Baroque was, when the chest and closet doors and everything was painted in flowers and all this. It was very nice. And also the beekeepers, when they went in the church, they were praying for his health, for the family, and they were also praying for the bees to give them the honey to be safe. Unfortunately, the bees were here, the beekeepers was in the church, and that's why there were also little superstition, you know. That's why the first panels, they were more religious one. It means like a Virgin Mary with a child, Saint Florian, he's a protector of farmers. It means if I'm gonna have this kind of panels on my hives, my bees and I and my apiary will be protected. So from Saint Florian, he's a protector of farmers. It means from the fire, you know. Virgin Mary, of course, we're gonna be blessed. My bees will gonna be blessed. So it's little superstition, and also because everything was they were reading story from the Bible. So the first panels, they were more religious one, and then there were of course panel from the what's happening in the during the day. And because we have a lot of farms, you know, they will work on the farm. There were also of course panels when they're taking the hay and all this, or they were cooking the schnapps, we say. Or there were also panels which are very funny. Like they were making jokes from the women or men. Like the most popular one is two devils are sharpening the woman's tongue. So they say we talk too much, we make too much. So we have to sharpen your tongue, you know. Or the lawyer one, we say we have two farmers are fighting for the cow on the court, and they are dragging each, you know, for the tail and for the horns. And during this process, somebody's milking that cow, and it's a lawyer. So you see, we have around 600 different kinds of stories or panels, which they have some story from behind. And you can see them in Beekeeping Museum here in Radovljica, which is very, very nearby. I have also these kind of panels on my hives, which I painted myself. All these panels here, they're my work. And also I have non-traditional one, which it means modern one. It means I have leaf and a flower, I have bees and all this. So I have traditional and non-traditional one. So this is very huge tradition also in Slovenia.
Oh, I can't wait to see your painted panels. I have to check them out too.
Yes, we can.
So, what do you have as products that people who visit you can take home with them? What sort of products did you make from honey and propolis and whatnot?
So we try to have only basic stuff, which is it means we don't put anything inside or we don't take out from the honey or something else. So main product is honey, bee pollen, candles, so propolis, hand creams, lip balm, soap. So these are the main products. The rest we don't have, or we don't do it. So like somebody puts, I don't know, gold in the honey, or they put, I don't know, some fruit or something like this, because we don't do it. We try to have more 100% pure stuff which the bees can give us.
So, for tourists who are coming to Bled, this is a lovely thing to do. You come for about an hour and a half. Is that right?
Hour and a half. It depends of the size of the group.
Okay.
So sometimes I can have whole bus and we can be here for 2 hours, you know, because the questions popping by.
Sure.
And so I cannot say to my visitors, you know what, you have to go. It's not polite.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm very happy when my visitors ask questions, and so they are here. So it depends. It depends.
But it's actually very close to Bled, but feels quite different. It's only about a 2-kilometer walk from Bled, so you could come
Mhm.
on foot, or about a 5-7 minute drive.
Mhm.
And it's a different perspective if you're used to the populated shore of Lake Bled or visiting the castle. It's a really nice thing to do. You learn about bees and beekeeping. You get to taste some of your honeys, and you have a nice little outing. And it's also very relaxing. I think the last thing I would mention is my favorite thing here, and the thing that I hadn't seen elsewhere is apitherapy. Can you just tell us a little bit about that and what you get to try out if you come to visit?
Yeah, we have also epi therapy, or we call relaxing in bee house inside. So it's a bee house, which inside we have hives, but also we built a bunk bed. And it's the bunk bed is beside the hives, and we have two openings. So it's a net, and during this relaxation, it means you're lying down on the bed, so inhaling the air, you're watching the bees, how they're buzzing, and all this. So you relax your body. This is very good for asthma, bronchitis, lung problems, sinuses. So the air which is inside the hive, it's very good for all these problems or issues if you have. Why? Because we have honey, we have bee pollen, wax, propolis, everything. And because the temperature is around 35 Celsius degrees, usually say it's like an oven. When you start to bake cookies, the smell starts to come out and you say, oh, nice. It's also here because you have around 60,000 bees and these bees are going in and out and the temperature is higher. So the air circles and goes out in these two openings and you're breathing this air and it's good for your lungs and all this, like I told you before. And because you're watching the bees through the window on safety way, your brains relax also. And I say you go in the meditation time. So it's very nice.
It is very relaxing. So thank you so much for spending some time with us. And now I want to take home some of your honey.
Yes, no problem. We're going to try it.
A visit to the Ambrožič apiary might sound like an unusual experience for a tourist, but it's so close to Lake Bled and is a hands-on multi-sensory experience that offers a glimpse into an important aspect of Slovenian culture. Plus, you get to hold a drone, not to worry, drones have no stingers, and taste numerous homemade goodies, from honey cookies to honey liqueur, from delicious pollen to, of course, several varieties of honey. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bled Podcast. Is this the most beautiful place on earth? The official podcast of the Bled Tourist Board. In each episode, we explore Bled and its surroundings. You'll find it all here, in this image of paradise.